If you think there's this thing called justice in the world, if you think that the right people succeed and the wrong people fail, you're out of your mind. Fani Willis still represents, to anybody watching this, one of the worst examples of a corruption that is worse than anything we have seen. Today they were talking about things like interesting stories. Lizzo. I know most people are saying, who the hell is Lizzo? But Lizzo has decided to step down from entertainment. Again, most people don't know. Lizzo, I asked somebody, I said, Lizzo, go lizard? I said, no, this is Lizzo. Lizzo. This, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. And I try to make it a point not to spend time making fun, dare I say, making fun of music or people that I don't care about, because it's always bothered me. Because when I was a kid, people made fun of, groups that I listened to. And maybe Lizzo in some particular functions or areas of the world, maybe who knows? Maybe there's something that's been, I don't know. I can't figure this out. But anyway, they talk about her. They talk about, of course, P. Diddy, and they talk about other things. But in terms of a person who is absolutely corrupting this world, in addition to Merrick Garland, Joe Biden, the entire Department of Justice, Jack Smith, is Fani Willis. And Fani Willis, more than anything else, represents something which is so monumentally evil, because she is trying to incarcerate, to subvert, to destroy the political process through this end around, this circuitous kind of a backdoor way of going after a president and others he doesn't really know, under this insanity of a theory involving, of all things, and this is incredible, of all things, and you listen carefully, of all things, racketeering. It's incredible. And then, during the course of this, goes before a court, lies before the court, lies before a judge, repeatedly, with impunity, with this arrogant haughtiness, this sense of, you can't tell me what to do, like nothing I've ever seen, ever before. I mean, I've seen haughty, and there's this sense of real-time corruption. You haven't heard about Tiffany Henyard lately. I don't know why. I, honest to God, do not know why. And I think what people do is, whenever you pick on somebody, or it appears that you're picking on somebody who is black, who is a woman, you're called a misogynist or a racist. You know that routine. But let me just tell you this. It is now officially over. The word racism means nothing. The mental fatigue that we've had to endure, the mental fatigue is beyond anything that any of us can even comprehend. Do you hear what I'm saying? It is beyond anything that we can comprehend. So we're going to be reviewing this today and a lot of other great stuff. I'm so honored that you are with me. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you hit that bell so that you are notified of new videos and new streams and the like. Make sure you also pay attention to what is going on in terms of liking this video. Liking the video does more to provide a boost, to put us into the fast lane so that other people will sample us. And we thank you for that. But first, before we begin, this incredibly important word from our incredibly important sponsor. If you keep your money in a bank account, listen up. Your savings could be at risk. The banking system is once again under extreme stress. And after last year's banking crisis, the dangers are clearer than ever. Car loans are defaulting. Credit card debt is ballooning. Commercial real estate is on the brink of collapse. These aren't just red flags. They are sounds of a financial ticking time bomb. But there is a safe and an easy way to protect your financial future: gold. Gold is outside the government's reach and safe from economic policies that jeopardize your wealth. Gold allows you to lock in today's value in the face of tomorrow's uncertainty. Don't wait for the next headline or crash or bank run to act. Inaction could be catastrophic. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your tomorrow. As a bonus, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin as a thank you for opening a qualified account. So visit LionelNationGold.com. LionelNationGold.com. Contact LionelNationGold.com to claim your gold coin. LionelNationGold.com. And remember, there's always a risk of investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind. Trying to get people to understand what's happening in terms of how critical things are, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. Getting people to really grasp like what's important and what's not. I always look at when you go to the doctor every year and you have your blood work done. There's so many parameters and levels and numbers. And oftentimes your doctor will say, that doesn't worry. Don't worry about that. That's important. Don't worry about that. That's important. So right now, what's the most important story? What is the most important story? And let me ask you, dear friends, what is as we speak today? Forget whether people are forget whether other people agree with you. Tell me today, national, international, whatever. You're the news director. Tell me what is the most important story today. Critical. What is it? Kim says Ukraine. Okay. Now, do you think, aside from that, that's very important. Why do you think that is not being covered as much? The open border, Diddy, war, border. You see, it's funny. I like the way you spell border, Boarder, as though somebody is boarding, like a boarding house. Very interesting pun there. Smiling Sue says so many. They want the war. Baltimore Bridge impacts. This is, now again, you're going to advise President Trump. You're going to say, I want you to go and I want you to explain this to the rest of the people and explain this. And you're going to say Ukraine. Now, remember, in America, different story. What is the most important? To whom? Somebody mentioned Diddy, and I'll bet you some of you are laughing. Lizzo quitting. In some particular references, Steve, that's the bigger story there is. Or the biggest. There are people who are still talking about Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. Why is this important? I have no earthly idea. There was a tweet yesterday that Dom Lucre or Lucre posted of a woman who was basically beaten to death by a crowd, a vigilante crowd. And I'm very surprised. It was she had murdered a child and something was not done, and there was this sense of justice, and it was a very, very you're going to be hearing about this. You're going to be hearing about this. I don't know if any of you saw it. And I am of the opinion, and I've always been of the opinion, that you should see specifically what things are about. You should see absolute realities. You can't talk about what's happening in Israel if you don't focus on the reality of what's happening. You cannot do it. You cannot focus on or understand anything that's going on with Israel or with Ukraine unless you see what this thing is. It's a very interesting piece. It's very interesting. The border. Why is that not getting the attention? Fani Willis. Fani Willis the attention has been on the fact that she lied about a love tryst or an affair with Nathan Wade. This has been the focus. It has been that she has lied about that. And it is something which I'm thinking, that's not, I mean, that's tangentially the issue, but that's not really sort of important. But people said, no, I think it's interesting because they kind of looked at it almost like a gossip story, the fact that she's this arrogant woman. And by the way, let me explain something to you. I don't care what anybody, and I can't say this again. She brought up the fact that she's a powerful Black woman. You do realize that nobody is bringing this up, and I can't say this enough. You have completely, they, people, society, have completely destroyed all recognition of the importance of dare I say this, how do I say, I'm not sure what the word is. The word racism doesn't mean anything. Let me just say it again. It's you've killed it. The mental fatigue. There's nothing there. Nothing. It doesn't make any sense. The other day, I think I mentioned you, they were referring to the Baltimore mayor. Someone did as the DEI mayor. Now, technically speaking, it's incorrect to refer to because that was an election. He was elected. And absent any indication to the contrary, he was elected. DEI is a version of what seems to be almost like it's a version of what amounts to, in effect, affirmative action, so to speak, where some organization, some, a dean or somebody, but an election, okay, fine. So what they did was Joy Reid and the usual suspects from, I guess, MSDNC, and I never, ever watched it. I have no interest, but the name will circulate. They pulled out from this bucket this racist thing. It's been just used. There's nothing left to it. It's been beaten up. There's nothing left. It's like roadkill. It's been run over so much. There's nothing there anymore. It's unintelligible. It's unimportant. Nobody recognizes it. Race, race, race. And you then say, but you're constantly calling people racist and white people, white supremacists, white nationalists, white this. You want reparations. You want race, black, critical race theory, race. You have killed this. We can't respond. Not only white people or non-black people, but everyone. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. It's like the phrase, trust the science. Does it mean anything anymore? Because it's been overused when you kill the subject. So when somebody brought up this idea of DEI, why are people acting so upset? Because the Joy Reids, I guess, of the world, oh no, one one song in the repertoire, racism. That's it. That's it. They have destroyed this. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It really does. I mean, it does not mean there. It's almost like when people used to refer to the curse of the Bambino. Remember the Bambino curse? Okay, within the context of Red Sox baseball, it meant nothing, but it meant a lot within this very, very singular group of people. And what I look at is, unless an issue now translates into votes, we're wasting our time. The American people care nothing about Ukraine. They couldn't find Ukraine on a map. They could not. I'm convinced the most despicable, listen to this, the most despicable politician. Have you seen Lindsey Graham? Absolutely. He met with Netanyahu. It was obsequious, fawning, boot-licking, lick-spittle, toady-ish. It was the most horrible thing I have ever seen, I think, in recent time. And he referred to Israel. I always loved that. Israel. Not Israel. Israel. Izrull. And he uses the word bullshit. And you could tell, you got to see this. You see how Netanyahu was like thinking, this is weird. And he was standing extremely close to him. But yet, this man can vote along with Blumenthal, who, by the way, lied about his Vietnam record, and Letitia James, who wants to basically destroy President Trump. They can vote absolutely perfectly regarding protecting children. It's the weirdest thing. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But right now we have the election coming up. And I don't know, because here's the thing to remember, and this is critical. As we speak today, it's 220 days until the election. That's the scariest sound in the world. 220 days. There is no way, none that anybody will be able to pull off that Joe Biden is going to win. I don't know when they're going to, it's going to run rather. I don't know when they're going to pull him. I don't know how this is going to happen. Gavin Newsom would be perfect. They are saying things now. They are they're swinging for the fences. They are going for congestion pricing. It's starting in New York and then elsewhere. They're going to be trying to block regular cars and EVs. They're throwing everything because they smell very seriously that they're going to lose, and they're getting desperate. And this is the scariest thing in the world. This is when they are the scariest. And what's interesting is that you have a group of people, the Democrats, who have I've never seen anything. The Democrats are completely and totally unaware of anything. Republicans are aware of everything, but don't do anything. They believe, the Republican Party today believes that watching somebody on Fox News is tantamount, is equivalent to voting for them. That if Trump gives a great speech, if Trump appears at a policeman's funeral, if Trump buys everybody $200, he's worth $6 billion, if you believe it. And I don't believe anything from anybody, okay? Anybody. But somehow people will say, he's doing great, we're going to win, because it's called observer bias. They want him to win. They think he's going to win, and they believe somehow that, and for reasons I don't know why, they think that this somehow is going to translate into winning. I've never seen anything. It's the strangest thing. A while back, a number of people said repeatedly, en masse, everybody said this. Everybody. Remember this? Michelle Obama was going to run. I told you. In no uncertain terms, I told you she is not going to run. She does not want to run. She has nothing to do with running. Nothing. Nothing is going to happen. You are not going to see her. Oh, yes, she is. They're gearing up. You have no idea. So where did this come from? And it wasted time. It gave the Democrats time to figure out, what are we going to do? And I said it repeatedly, nothing against her. She doesn't want to run. She wants to be a billionaire or whatever they think. Because, by the way, the word billionaire means nothing. Diddy Combs, by the way, that's another one. $100 million in mortgages? Who is giving him a mortgage? He's done $100 million. Where is... You're seeing, and I'm changing the subject, you're seeing this fraudulent world. Oprah, Tyler Perry, Jay-Z, Diddy, Fitty to an extent, though he's a little bit different. But this idea, and Oprah at the top of the game, that these folks, they have been presented, held up by the shadow government, the ruling class, and they have been anointed as the chosen ones. They are the ones. Cat Williams spoke of this. This is being shattered. Diddy was fine when Obama's standing next to him. I love the way Obama has this. You have a connection with it. Obama has as much to do with Diddy as I do. Obama has put it. I mean, he has come across. He's closer to my generation. I think when he was intoning Al Green and Robert Johnson's Sweet Home Chicago, that's more up to speed. He's a phony. He has nothing to do with the hip hop world. Nothing. And you can see this. It's almost like, I don't know. I mean, it was embarrassing. Obama is extremely articulate, or extremely smart, has a lot of panache, and has nothing to do with this thug-like, and we can say it, thug life, thug like. That's what Tupac had on his abdomen, thug. I think it was thug like. You want to be a thug. These phony baloney criminal types, phonies, absolute phonies. And what's interesting right now is you've got to see this, and I want you to step back for a moment. This is a demographic that is so powerful and so therefore the depiction, so to speak. You cannot believe how important the African American group of electorate voting bloc. We're talking 14% of the population. This is huge. This is huge. And up till now, they've always been taken for granted. Always been taken for granted. Confused. And this is the best part. Diddy, Fitty, all these other folks have been confused as spokespeople for the black contingent of the American population. Did you ever remember a time when Sinatra spoke for white people, or Italian people, or the Beatles spoke for white people, or Jack Nicholson? Think about what we're saying. And this has been manufactured by white people, but also perpetuated by people who are making a lot of money. Oprah Winfrey, who is the as far as ersatz, fugazi, camouflaged, and synthetic, Oprah Winfrey has nothing to do with the black community. Nothing. And yet, it was so interesting. There's this connection, so that whenever they have, I don't know what it is, a democratic event, they will turn to this contingent and say, here, you represent us. Go down that list, with the exception of Queen Latifah, who, by the way, is talented, but no, it's almost like this is where it's demeaning, because let me tell you something. Democrats act like Oprah is somehow part of the platform, but don't laugh. Republicans, and I would very dare to say white Republicans, think that Fox News is. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. These folks think that Stephen Colbert. I never knew. Look, I always knew and understood that entertainment was a very important part. Bob Hope, Johnny Carson, Bob Hope. When Bob Hope endorsed you, this was serious. You never confused Bob Hope with politics. You never did. Today, politics means nothing. Political platforms mean nothing. And what I want you to understand is when you're Joe Biden and you have nothing to show for it, when you have Kamala Harris, all you have is anything to say, well, if you don't like us, how about Diddy or Oprah? You like them? Good, that'll do. Because we don't have anything. Because the Democratic Party has nothing to offer you. I would love to somehow I wish I could invite a stadium full of Democrats and say, how many of you, raise your hand, want to give up gas operated combustion engine vehicles in your lifetime? Raise your hand. How many of you want to buy electric vehicles and God forbid you need a new battery? And God forbid there's a grid or some type of a grid collapse, or God forbid there's flooding, or God forbid. How many? Raise your hands. No one. Well, why do you let these people say this for you? Imagine a stadium, huge, all Democrats. Raise your hand. How many of you believe that there is nothing identifiably different between male and female? Raise your hand. Nobody would. Nobody. Absolutely no one. So why is this such a part of your platform? Why? How many of you folks believe? Raise your hand. How many of you have children? How many believe that if your child, who may not even know his or her favorite color, decides one day because he or she, not they, but he or she, has some crazy idea, kind of like we did, and maybe sometimes you might have cut your hair or you might have worn something. I always liked those goth folk. Remember, goth was a deal. I still don't know what goth is, but they wore black and dark, and they were kind of. Remember when punk was big and they had spiked haircuts and big Doc Martens. Remember everybody. But imagine this particular fad goes to saying, "I am a woman," and imagine instead of if a person went to their teacher and said, "I am goth," and my parents don't recognize it. Imagine the teachers calling up Child Protective Services, having your child removed from your home because you have not recognized its goth lifestyle. You'd laugh at that. You say, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Well, it's not ridiculous in the least. This is what's happening right now. This is what is happening right now. It's the most how many of you actually think, Democrats, that Joe Biden knows what he's doing, that Joe Biden is an honorable man, that Joe Biden hasn't leveraged his office through his son Hunter Biden, that Joe Biden is not a part of a crime syndicate, a family where his son was using finger painting or whatever he was, and then telling him for $1 million to be sent this way. How many? You have been forgotten. How many of you folks believe that in the event of the next pandemic or health concern, that you have no say whatsoever? How many of you folks believe that if in the event that somebody says the HPV scourge is such that we demand that your children have Gardasil vaccinations now, and you can say nothing about it? How many? How many of you believe that whenever there are riots, that the police should look the other way? How many of you believe that Black Lives Matter speaks for you? How many of you believe that Antifa, that just got away with murder, came in, organized urban and domestic terrorism, and then off into the night? Not one name, nothing about the structure. And the Democrats and the Republicans are both to blame. How many of you believe, I want all of you, Democrats, answer my question, believe that there should be absolutely No border control ever. How many of you believe that a person who comes to the border, BORDER, should receive a gift card of $1,000, who should be given free health care, schools, be able to possess firearms, and then drift off into the night, never seen from again, never counted, no idea where they're from. They care about you. We don't know who they are, whether they're unaccompanied children. How many of you believe that America should be a blank check for wars in the Middle East, wars in Ukraine? How many of you, keep an eye, when do you think the Key Bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, when will you ever see that one? Start the clock now. You won't see anything done for years. Do you want this? Do you think you're better off now than you were? Can you take 4 more years of this shit? That would be my swear to God. I know I'm not trying to be necessarily coprophilic, not coprophilic. Oh my God, no, coprolalic. Excuse me, coprophilic. No. But do you want more of this? Are you serious? I know you don't like Trump. I understand that you made this abundantly clear. But are you telling me that you want this? You actually would want? You are one heartbeat away. Kamala Harris is a moron. If you want to see Kamala Harris during her prime, check out pictures of her when she was the arm candy of Montel Williams. Look at her, and it tells you everything. Go back. Look. This is your vice president. You know how she got her start. You know the Willie Brown story. Hey, look, it happens. Is this your country? Is this what you want? Because they have stolen your Democratic Party. Think about that, folks. Think about this and ask yourself, why don't they seem to understand how this thing works? How is it that they just don't seem to understand how this works? Hang on for 1 second, my friend, and think very carefully about this terrible situation that is most impending, and it's from our sponsor. Let's talk about a very serious subject, emergency food. That's right, emergency food. Now, I know at first blush it's difficult for most people to think about something that they just take for granted, ever reaching, emergency status. We're used to stores always being open, deliveries always made, no supply chain disasters, no ransomware catastrophes, shutting down gas stations, no trucking strikes, no war, no protests from farmers, no mysterious Chinese weather balloons, nothing catastrophic in terms of weather. Well, that can't happen to us, right? And I understand it's a defense mechanism that we have because the idea of ever not being able to eat or locate food is seemingly incomprehensible to most people. But think about this. It's not. That's why it's time for you to go to my site, preparedwithlionel.com. Preparedwithlionel.com has the deal of deals for you. Take it as a starter set, an introduction set. You've been putting off emergency food for too long. Some people still have a thing about prepping, as though prepping for emergency is foolish. Now, right now, you can save $200 on a 3-month emergency supply kit. This is unbelievable. 22 varieties with a 25-year shelf life, 25 years, 2,000 calories a day in 6 rugged buckets, 120 pounds of food. Could you go 3 months, 90 days if stores closed? Be honest. Could you go a week without any trips to the store? I don't think so. I'm not talking about having stuff in your cabinet. I'm not talking about banana chips and jerky. I'm talking about food, real food. So go right now to preparewithlionel.com. This moment, right now, preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. Go now and thank me later. Your comments are so fascinating as to how you believe we are in so many versions of this, a war, a psyop war, a war against culture, a war against this. Well, let me ask you something. What is being done about this? What is being done? I understand what the Democrats are. I understand. I don't expect anything from them. But the Republicans have left me flat. You understand that? Left me flat. Now, as I told you, let me say this again, dear friends. There are 220 days until the election. 220 days. And I know people who just think that somehow that because they love Trump and Trump is doing great, they think he can't go to jail. They're not there. It does not exist. The case is all nonsense. It's all going to be reversed on appeal. And I'm looking at them, and when I tell them you're out of your mind, I'm looked at as some kind of I don't know what the word is, some kind of a naysayer. He's in for this is the fight of his life. I believe he's sincere. I think he doesn't need this. He's not somebody who, if he didn't want to do this, he's not doing it for the money. He's lost billions. He's lost it. He and his family, what they've had to go through. And I don't know if the people around him are that serious. He has a very serious case. The case in Georgia, people kind of dismiss it because, I don't know, they think it's Georgia or something. No, this is racketeering. There are people doing life in state prison. He could be looking at 10, 25 years, depending upon what these sick bastards think. I don't know. And the legal teams. Sadow are terrific and is wonderful, and so is Ashley Merchant. And then here in New York, he's got this Alina Habba, who spends her time telling everybody how glamorous she is, who goes on Daily Mail saying, "Look, I'm got my 40th birthday. I'm in St. Bart's. Here's my thing. Here's my gals." I'm thinking to myself, would you wake? Do you mean to tell me this is the best you can do, or are you serious? I would get her and I'm going to say, you better act serious. You are sending the message out that you don't care and I don't care, because what you're interested in is your looks and how glamorous you are. This is the way it is. How many of you fine folks think Lara Trump knows what the hell she's doing regarding the RNC, if at all possible? How many of you believe that Ronna McDaniel being fired from her cushy MSDNC job is worth money? This is what I don't understand. How many of you have heard somebody like Ronna or somebody to come out and say, I want everyone to listen to me. If you think that we're going to have a redo of 2020, that we're going to have cardboard put up on polling booth. Remember that in Philadelphia? Remember that one? If you think we're going to have Dinesh D'Souza and 2,000 mules, and if you think we're going to be, you are out of your mind. We are setting up. We have legions of poll watchers, legions of election monitors. We have heretofore quiet, but teams of lawyers standing by, ready to move in. Not like last time. Have you heard anything about that? Nope. Have they told you about that? Nope. Have they had any interest in that? Nope. Nobody's talking about it. You're just being told, don't worry, just when Trump goes has a speech, or somebody likes him, or he's on Hannity, or it's that somehow this is going to trickle down, and the Democrats are going to be scared, and they're going to be put in their place. They're going to say, oh my God, we have to do. No, absolutely not. I've seen this before. And this is the part that I want everybody to understand. This is the part. Now, there's so much going on in our world, which is just incredible. Nobody understands the Fani Willis case. Again, all you'd have to do is to have 10, 100, 1,000 people petition either the Supreme Court of Georgia or whoever the body is, and say, what are you doing to address the notion of perjury? She committed perjury. She said under oath, and the issue may not be important, but the fact that it's under oath is, she said repeatedly, I did not begin any type of relationship with Mr. Wade until 2022. That is patently, absolutely a lie. It is false. 100%. What is being done? What to address that? What? You have John Eastman, who is going to lose his ticket in California, they want. Giuliani here in New York and then D.C. They're brutal. There's no brutality among the Republicans. The Republicans are lousy. They don't know how to fight. None. They have no clue. And what a lot of we do is we have a lot of smart folks, great folks. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of the stuff that you're being, the level of perception, the level of awareness, the level of insight on the part of the Republican Party is like nothing. Our group, our crew. But those of us here is like nothing I have ever seen in terms of how wise and how brilliant and how I don't know what the words are, how you're just beyond anything anybody's ever. I mean, you know more things than anybody can even remotely imagine. You use words, you understand, you know things. But here's the bottom line: unless we win this election, this is all great, but it doesn't matter. We are the most well aware, the most well intended, the most focused people who have no control over anything. Nobody is listening to us. We listen to each other. We listen. Oh, great stuff. You've got Rumble and Bumble and BitChute and PoopShoot and this and that and oh my God and Truth Social and all this stuff and back and forth, and it's great. And it's wonderful, and I'm telling you, and I've said, but is it going to win an election? If you don't, for some reason, this is my only beef. People have forgotten the fact that you have to win an election. If you don't win the election, you're just the minority party. You're the losing party, and you're going to be spending the rest of your life talking about issues that nobody cares about. I can't make it any clearer than that. How do you suspect we changed it? How do you expect? When was the last time you ever saw, whenever Trump goes somewhere, for there to be a group that says we're signing people up for either Republican Party or whatever it is? We're signing people up. Brad Parscale, remember him? Brad Parscale was like the 6'8" guy. Trump loves people who are big. He's got this thing about my son's 6'7". That's great. That's wonderful. Okay, whatever. But Brad Parscale was somebody who knew how to work Facebook. He was really good. Then he had some problems and they bounced him and you never heard from him again. When was the last time you heard anybody talk about we're getting people where we have voter registration? No, I don't know about this at all. But I'll see Alina Habba on some show with Hannity talking about how great I am. I don't understand this. I've been screaming about this left and right. Prometheus forever says, Lionel, whenever a president has gone after the deep state intelligence apparatus, bad things have happened. It will be monumental if anyone other than Biden wins. It will be monumental if anyone other than Trump loses. Well, I appreciate that and thank you for your kindness. The answer is no, that is not true. That is not true. The intel operations care nothing about this. The idea of the deep state, and you can say that, and there's a certain degree of truth. After Harry Truman went berserk, after he said one of the dumbest things he ever did was sign. By the way, Harry Truman is one of these enigmatic people, but after he signed the National Security Agreement, or he did that, I would suggest that nobody is going after you're not going to go after the intelligence apparatus per se. Okay? You're not. You're just, that's not it. I know what you're saying. But the intelligence apparatus is not going to be effective if the right people win. I can go and I can say to you, Let me explain something to you, intelligence apparatus. Let me tell you something, the deep state, police state, intel state, shadow government, Five Eyes, whoever, whatever you want to call it, CIA. Nobody talks about NSA. You notice that anymore? Do you ever talk about the National Reconnaissance Office or whatever? Or whatever? No, of course not. We just talk about we're back to CIA. It was NSA, no such agency. Now we're back to CIA, and we're done with the FBI because that's more domestic. But here is the thing. I don't care how good you are. If we win every single election, you're done. And you can, if you want to pull a JFK again, you want to pull a Dallas, good for you. It's a little difficult, more difficult today than it was. It's just a little bit more difficult. You can Epstein people, you can do that. You can go after people individually. There's no doubt about that one. But let me just say this again. If we win elections, it changes everything. It changes everything. Everything. And the real enemies are deeper than Intel. Because Intel normally speaks for somebody else. The idea that Intel works independent, it doesn't. They work for the people kind of in charge to an extent. And the best part about it, remember, my dear friend, you've heard about white hats, right? There's a whole bunch of people out there, the white hats and the good guys, who say, this is what we want to do. This is not what we want to do. Do you think everybody who works for Intel, again, that's a pretty broad thing, do you think everybody is some scoundrel, some rapscallion? Do you think that's everybody who wants to destroy this country? I don't. Not at all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're there. But what happens is we have to do it. We have a lot of work to do. The very first thing, in addition to all this, is to make sure and to ensure that we always have freedom of speech. I can't say this enough to you. There have been some wonderful things. Elon Musk was one of the best things that happened. I know. He's not perfect. I'll take him. For the first time, all of a sudden, we're seeing this resurgence of people who, for the longest times, were just shut out. Social media are critical. That's number one. Number two, there's going to be a emergence of new voices and new folks. Now, I appreciate this and I understand it, but we really don't have the voices that we need. Let me say this again. Tell me one person on regular social media who is as dangerous as Alex Jones used to be. Go ahead. Who? By the way, look at Liz. God bless her, the den mother. We need, how many likes have I got right now? How many? I don't even want to see this. Don't make me. Oh my God. I need 500 likes. What are you doing to me? Have you forgotten? I pleaded with you. I implored. I asked you, please, just to like something. You can't just say, okay, I'll like your button. Here, there we go. This is what changes us into everything. I swear to you, I want to go out there and I want to tell people this. Look, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. No. I'm an American. All I care about, and I told you this before, and I'm going to do it again. This is it. This is it right here. Period. And I want people to understand we are constitutionalists. We are part of a republic. We are not into a democracy and all that. All those crazy, corny terms. But who is it? Who is out there today? Who? Candace Owens? No. If you want to talk about racial stuff, who? Who is it? Where is the, wow, have you heard this guy? Really? There's some good ones out there. But what we're talking about, when you talk about psyops and things, most people say, I don't even know what you're talking about. Who are the voices out there? Who? The very fact that all of a sudden this Candace Owens, because let me tell you something, this Ben Shapiro, and this is kind of like this pantheon. Again, I don't listen to these people. I don't know. But all I know is there needs to be a revolution of thought here. We need to think of information like music. Where would we be without the Beatles? We'd be playing skiffle and rockabilly, which is fine. There would be no Pink Floyd. There'd be nothing. There'd be no. Where would we be in jazz without Louis Armstrong? Where would we? We are stuck in the intellectual in the news and information world. We're just stuck, and there's nobody new. It's the same grind. I really like as a person Mark Levin. I really do, because I've known, I mean, he's a very nice person, but his message, with all due respect, is just, it's stuck. It's like stuck. There's nothing. This is, Guy Lombardo. I'm sorry to say that. Stand by for 1 minute, my friend. I've mentioned this before to you, and I've said this, and I'm going to say it again. When they went after Mike Lindell, that really just, he has right now the best. You've got to go. I'm telling you right now. And I was going to play something, but I just want you to do this. You've got to go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Right now, as we speak, look at that picture. He's holding a pillow. You can sign it. You get a free gift, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. And he's got this thing right now called the $25 extravaganza. Every time I put up a new one, he changes it. You got to go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. My Towels, 6-piece towel sets, Giza Premium My Pillows, slide sandals, 2-pack multi-use My Pillows, dog beds, beach towels, 4-pack dish towel sets, couch and recliner pillows, all $25. Unheard of. Unheard of. Bathrobes as low as $49.98. Down comforters, save 60% with promo code Lionel. My Pillow mattresses as low as $450 for a mattress, promo code Lionel. And my slippers, $59.98, promo code Lionel. And by the way, the My Pillow 2.0, save 50%, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. It's the blankets as low as $29.99. I'm telling you. And not only is it cheap, I shouldn't say cheap, it's good value. It's the best quality there is. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. One more time. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Go there now. Don't ever use any promo code but Lionel. All right? That's it. So as I was saying, dear friend, we need something brand new. We've got to tell people. We've got to teach them. They'd love to know about Operation Mockingbird. They'd love to know the history of the CIA. They'd love to know. They'd love to start off. And not by the usual suspects, and not the usual, but to explain to them the history of this country. Excuse me, the history of this government. The government. Who better to know? Who better to know? If I walked out to a bunch of black folks and say, do you trust the government? Let me give you, in view of your particular plight, stature, history, frame of reference, do you trust the U.S. government? Do you? Hey, ladies, any ladies out there? You couldn't vote until the 19th Amendment, about 100 years after they abolished slavery. Right now, the thing that is absolutely critical, they're not going after men. They're going after women. They want to destroy you. Did you know that? They want to destroy you. When Leah Thomas says, I'm going to be a swimmer and I'm going to invade women's sports, it starts with that. Pretty soon, we're not going to need you. We're not going to need you. We're not going, we don't. They want to make women, ready for this, sex workers. And I know we always have to say that men, we're not talking about men. They want to treat you like chattel. You think I'm kidding you? The Democrats. They want to make you androgynous. They always talk about a bunch of men becoming women. Oh, there's a few women who want to be men, but you ever hear about that really? You're not going to hear them going into sports because, frankly, men are better at sports in some respects than women do. I'm sorry, but that's why we have men and women's sports. Ask these people, look, if you want to have equality, let's just get rid of the sex differences. Like John McEnroe said, let me say this again. Let me say this again to you. They want to destroy your gender, the Democrats, not the Republicans, the Democrats. So I've got black folks, I've got women. So why do you think, what are they not buying? What do they not understand about this? I'm not saying vote for Trump because he's Trump. I'm saying vote for your own best interest. Do you think that the Democrats have your best interest at heart? And by the way, Black America, guess what? You're not the favorite. Oh, there was a time in this country when civil rights, equality. Now it's this thing called equity for some. Do you think you're of any importance? No. You know who Democrats want? Illegals. Because illegals are going to go and they're going to vote Democrat. They want a permanent Republican. They want a permanent Democratic Party. This is obvious. I don't know how to tell you this anymore. They want a permanent Democratic Party. They want 60. They want to destroy the filibuster. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to make D.C. the next. They want the next state. That's it. And once they get this, they don't need anybody. They don't need anyone. And by the way, Democrats, here's the best part. All of my friends who claim that, I'm an old hippie. Whenever I meet these jadrules, is it really? Yeah. Did you march in the anti-war movement? Oh, absolutely. What do you think about what's going on in Israel now? Well, no, really, what do you think is going on? Well, I'd rather not say. What do you mean you'd rather not say? What does that mean you'd rather not say? What does that mean you'd rather not say? Do you know what's going on? Are you aware of what's going on? Does this make sense to you? Do you believe, forget the cause, do you think we have enough money to keep giving a blank check to whether it's Israel and Ukraine? Do you believe that? Not to mention maintaining what? 80, how many bases do we have around them? No, excuse me, 780, 780. Oh, I can't even keep track of it. Do you? Do you think so? Why is there even a debate? Why isn't this country? I'm asking you one question, and I want your answer. Why isn't this a landslide Republican country? Why? 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 Why do you think so? Why do you think so? Why? What is it that holds people back? What is it? Why? Is it Trump? Is it because they hate Trump? Is it because what is the reason? And it's a very simple question. Just answer my question. What is the reason why America, not the Democratic Party, why America? Why? Why? You're not answering my question because it's the hardest question to answer. Not the Democratic Party, Americans. Why do you think? People say U.S. has always been divided. Divided what? Tell me what the Democrats want. What are you offering average, plain old Democrats? What are they getting? What? Can't answer it. I don't know. Is there anything? It's nothing. If you're an illegal, that's okay. If you're some transgendered, whatever, okay. If you're some DEI, what? Maybe. Other than that, what do you offer? What? And by the way, Kansas mama, this is not socialism. Remember this. This is not socialism. Socialist, this is not Sweden. This is not whatever. This is welfare state. This is granting money to certain people. This is not socialism. It's not Marxism. It has something to do with class struggles. It's the wrong term. Believe me, there are Marxists who are going crazy being told this isn't Marxism. This is not socialism in the least at all. That's the word we use. That's like when people use the term Nazi. You're acting like a Nazi. Answer this. We'll figure this tonight. Because you've got to answer my question. And I'm keep asking you, what does the rank and file Democratic voter want? What is he or she getting? What? What do they get? Why are they voting for this? You can't answer that. Because nobody knows. Don't know. I do not understand. Who is actually saying, let's defund the police? I don't know. All right, dear friends. Now, let me also tell you something. This is very, very critical. And I want you to listen to me and listen like you've never listened before. I want you right now to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. The best stuff ever. We want to make that channel on fire because it is directed towards and dedicated to the support and the protection of the family and children. And if it doesn't get any more American than that, the family and children, digital safety, and to make you aware of laws. I promise you. Did you know about the Hawaiian kidnapping law? Or do you know about how now they basically want to legalize pimping and human trafficking in New York? Oh, New York has become, I thought that in the old days, Portland and all these crazy Canada, who knows, Canada, Australia, they're doing some terrible things there. So follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors, LYNNS Warriors. You follow them, her, and you'll be glad you did. All right, dear friends, and don't forget to follow me here at Lionel Nation. We have more stuff. And don't be surprised if during the day all of a sudden you said, hey, he's live. Because I think I'm going to be doing that later on today. Something tells me I'll be doing that. In any event, have a great and a glorious day and happy pre-Easter. Tomorrow is Easter. Remember this. I want you to tell people this is Easter. I don't care if you're a Christian or not. I say happy Hanukkah. I say that. I respect people and Ramadan and all that. That's fine. This is Easter. This is not spring and Easter bunnies. No. Understand what this is. You don't have to necessarily be Christian, but understand what it is. Do not be afraid of religion. Respect religion. The world, contrary to what a lot of atheists say, the world would be better with more people who believed in something other than themselves. That's all. And that doesn't mean that all atheists are rude, because after all, a Buddhist is technically an atheist. And they're into, whatever. So these words, atheism, lose that word. But there is something, I think, very beneficial in people understanding the notion of faith. But not just faith, but in terms of honoring the doctrine of peace and benevolence and charity and the like. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so very much. See you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't forget, make sure you sign up for this video, because I'm telling you, during the day later on, I'm just going to just crank up the machine and say, you know what? I'm going live. Like Bill O'Reilly. Let's go live. Let's go live. What a judge rule. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Talk to you later. Don't ever forget these words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.